Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, the family of a man wanted for murder looking to have his name cleared. This as they mourn the loss of 7-year-old Reyes Williams. Eviction notice is issued for Abaco shantytowns. Plus, a grave scam for one New Providence family.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Just 2 days after he was slain in front of his mother's home, the family of 7-year-old Reyes Williams is tonight appealing for help as the hunt is on for another family member wanted for murder. The women say they've suffered enough and want the name of their family member to be cleared.
We all hurting. Everybody are hurting. We all are family.
VERLINDA CULMER left in tears as the hunt continues for her son, whose face is now plastered on a poster as Marlon Smith, also known as Bam Bam. The mother says the situation feels like a bad dream. Their family is already grieving the loss of her nephew, 7-year-old Reyes Williams, who was gunned down Sunday night as he played outside his mother's Nassau Village home. And as they mourn, CULMER says she fears for her son's safety.
Any minute now I can be grieving again. And I ain't even, right now, I am so hurt that it's my little nephew. That could have been my little son. I have a son who is 4 years old. All of them must be in front of the yard. And when one hurt, all hurts.
CDU Chief Superintendent Shanton Knowles told Our News Smith is wanted for questioning in connection to a murder investigation, but didn't say which murder. Either way, the family is still grief-stricken and is worried that Smith may not be given a chance to prove his innocence.
I just don't want them to kill my baby in the road. Because first of all, that's not even his name they have on that poster. Please, please, y'all, I beg y'all, Mr. Minister, please help us. The Royal Police Force, please help us, please.
Smith's last known address is listed as Esmeralda Avenue, Nassau Village. According to the poster, he's 24 years old, medium complexion, and stands at 5 feet 7 inches. His aunt, Leila Maycock, says the events over the past few days have been a nightmare.
I take that little boy to the hospital. I grow him up like my own, Reyes Bless Williams. We have the same mother, same father, sisters and brothers. I love my nephew.
I feel like I experiencing death all over because he can be dead any minute now. Because the public is out at his eyes. I'm getting him as a murderer. And the whole police force are probably just looking for him.
Police have taken 3 men in custody for the 7-year-old's murder. Families of all murder victims present, and Candy Gibson was there to console the family members as they stood washed away in tears, pleading for any help they can get.
We need prayers and we need to look to God. God knows all things and he will be the master of the ship.
In other news, the government has served eviction notices to more than 50 structures recently erected in Abaco shantytowns, according to Public Works Minister DESMOND Bannister, who discussed the matter outside Cabinet today.
The Ministry of Works has posted eviction notice on a whole variety of these illegal structures on the mainland in Abaco and on Elbow Key.
Bannister provided a report containing pictures of the 52 structures. The majority of them are in the Farm Road shantytown and on Elbow Key. 2 of them were on Sandbank. The structures vary in size. Most of them appeared to be constructed with plywood, and some had already been outfitted with windows, doors, and metal roofs. In recent months, many Abaconians have called for government action on the matter. Bannister says the eviction notice is the first step in the process.
Many of them have been posted since June. We've documented every single one, the photographs and the date when they were posted. And so there is a government inter-ministry agency that's looking at taking the next steps. But our job with respect to posting them has started in June, and we are relentless in ensuring that we do what the Bahamian people ask us to do.
Following Hurricane Dorian, the government imposed a 6-month ban on the construction of new buildings in the mud, sandbanks, and Pigeon Pea shantytowns, which suffered severe wind and flood damage during the devastating storm. Through compulsory acquisition, the government also took control of the land shortly after the storm and had it cleared of debris. However, the Farm Road shantytown still had structures. Well, a second Parliament staffer has tested positive for COVID-19. Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest and Public Works Minister DESMOND Bannister told reporters today that after the first case was confirmed, they both got COVID-19 tests.
I have tested again after the last scared last week. Negative, thank God.
I've tested and I've tested negative. And remember now, I haven't been in the House of Assembly last week, so I haven't been there for 2 weeks. But I've tested negative on the weekend.
House Speaker Housen Moutry confirmed the second positive case nearly a week after the first case was confirmed. Moutry has said he is taking precautionary measures to request or demand that all members of staff have a COVID test, and added that the House of Assembly will have to operate with a skeletal team for this week's meeting.
We are as vulnerable as anybody else in the community, and so we take it seriously and with the same level of concern. Unfortunately, this virus is with us, and these things are going to happen repeatedly until we do the things, as we said, that we need to do in order to stop the spread.
Ahead of the full reopening of the tourism ministry, Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest is warning that plans for an economic rebound will likely fall flat if COVID-19 continues to spread across the country. He also insisted the minister's administration has a plan B if other major hotels decide to remain closed for the foreseeable future. Here's Jasmine Brown.
We have plan B, C, D, E, and F. Because, you know, the reality is we have to be responsible. We don't have the luxury of guessing around. And so we're always doing scenarios to see what if. What happens if the economy doesn't come? What happens if the international tax people make a move? How do we adjust?
He added that the government's resources remain stable right now, but the minister's administration intends to borrow a significant amount of money later this year to carry the government through the remainder of the fiscal year. Multiple major hotels throughout the country have extended their closures beyond the government's October 15th target date for the relaunch of the tourism industry. Among the hotels to delay their reopening are Club Med, Columbus Isle, Sandals Royal Bahamian, British Colonial Hilton, and the two largest resorts in the country, Atlantis and Bahamas. Turnquest says their decision was not exactly surprising.
We've always said that we did not expect tourism to really ramp up until the late fall, November timeframe. Unfortunately, it is a fact that the major hotels have already announced that they will not be ready in time to meet that date. That does put some difficulty or delay some of the recovery that we anticipate that will happen. But as I said earlier, we do hope that some of the smaller properties, the Airbnb type properties, will be able to pick up some slack. Not obviously to the level of what we will lose by not having the major hotels.
The government has said the restart of the tourism sector by late November is critical to the economic stability of the country as it recovers from the COVID-19 pandemic. But with COVID cases continuing to increase, Turnquest suggested that the Bahamas may not get the numbers it needs to sufficiently boost the economy. He said the situation calls for some sacrifice.
Nobody's coming to this country. No economic activity can flourish if we have rising cases of COVID. We have to do our part. And if we can do that, yes, it's a sacrifice, 2-3 weeks a month of sacrifice, but if we can do that, we can get this thing under control and we can go about our lives.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
The lawyer of a 19-year-old man charged with last week's murder on Hawthorne Road told the magistrate's court today that while the young man entered police custody free of scratches and bruises, he now has a swollen jaw and a dislocated finger. Berthie McDermott reports.
19-year-old Tayshawn Moxie Sr. in the baby blue plaid shirt has been accused of intentionally and unlawfully causing the death of Danton Woods. On the night of September 13th, police received reports that a male was shot on Hawthorne Road. Officers responded and upon arrival saw a man lying face down with gunshot wounds. In court today, Moxie's attorney Jomo Campbell said he voluntarily turned himself into police. However, before doing so, he advised his client to get a physical which revealed that Moxie was free of any scratches and bruises, but that wasn't the case today. Campbell told the court the left side of Moxie's jaw is now swollen and he can't move his right pinky finger, claiming it's dislocated. He also claimed police attempted to suffocate him by placing a plastic bag over his client's head while in custody. Campbell concluded that this was all done in hopes of getting Moxie to confess. The deputy chief magistrate made note of the complaints, adding that he will recommend Moxie receives medical care. Moxie was not required to enter a plea and bail was denied. 30-year-old Andrew Burrows was also arraigned today in connection with the January 19, 2018 murder of Craig Smith. It is alleged that while being concerned with others, Burrows intentionally and unlawfully caused the death of Smith. Burrows was not required to enter a plea and bail was denied. Both men will return to court on December 4th for service of a voluntary bill of indictment. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
The parents of 7-year-old Reyes Williams receiving assistance from Sunset Mortuary, which has offered to handle the child's funeral arrangements free of charge. His mother, Sandy Williams, said the offer is appreciated as she is unemployed.
For my family and me, we'd like to give these people a special thanks because I'm a single parent and I really don't have it and I cannot afford it, so I am grateful to Mr. Moss and Mrs. Moss. His mother and him make me feel loved. They make me feel like a part of their family. So I just want to tell them I appreciate what they're doing for me and I thank them because everything what they say they can do for my son, it sounds like a dream come true. So I just want to give y'all a special thanks and I love y'all. Thank you.
Managing Funeral Director Terry Moss is from Nassau Village and wanted to give back. CEO Idina Moss said the child's casket will be wrapped in his favorite superhero, Batman. Williams said she's overwhelmed by the outpouring of love her family has received during this difficult time and added that more assistance is needed.
The grave, the plot, anything where we could get assistance with, anything, any little thing, help. Everything is add up. So whatever we could get help with, we'll appreciate it.
More news on the way, but here's a first look at weather with meteorologist Greg Thompson. Good evening, Greg.
Thanks, Kyle. I'm meteorologist Greg Thompson with your first look at weather. Outside our studios, comfortable conditions. It's on the breezy side. Temperature around 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Your winds are out of the northeast at 12 knots. Very comfortable temperatures around outside our studios. On our satellite, frontal boundary now sagging into the southeast Bahamas with some clouds and showers down there. High pressure building behind, creating the breezy conditions across our area. Those temperatures will be comfortable throughout the night as the breeze continues. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on Our News, a family among several caught in a grave scam. Plus, some Atlanta's workers ready to cut ties and get severance pay. Stay tuned.
Coming soon to Rev TV, Goombay Kids. Goombay Kids is a show about learning, interacting, and having fun. Goombay Kids has made for kids by kids right here in the Bahamas.
Sit back, here we go, it's a Goombay day.
Goombay Kids!
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. A family already facing hard times is crying foul tonight after they were caught in a grave scam. They're now urging others who may be desperate for work to be mindful of who comes knocking.
He suggested us work as helpers around the funeral home, probably janitors or to work at the graveside. But it didn't matter, I just wanted a job to take care of my family.
When Natasha St. Louis was referred to who she thought were legitimate employees of Evergreen Mortuary looking to hire people, she thought there was some light at the end of the tunnel. The hair braider says they were approached about helping out around a graveyard. And the person purporting to be the hiring agent told them they needed their money for uniforms and name tags. Only problem is, they never got them.
At first he asked for $47, then he asked for additional funds. He said it was $67, then it went up to $72, then it went up to $88, then he said it went up to $96. He said with that being said, for our name tags and our swipe card, it would have been a total of $112. We never gave him the rest, we just gave him $88. And he said he would be back on Monday with the uniform and the swipe cards, but we never let it get that far. We went and took matters to the police.
The family realized what was going on one day when they called Evergreen Mortuary to check on the status of their employment, only to find out that the entire thing was a scam. In total, Natasha, her husband, and two others each gave the man $88, which they say was their last.
It hurt me to see as a young guy too, you know, and I'm young too. And everybody have needs, and he have a young daughter too, you know. And I pray God in the near future that he seek better ways in doing things, you know. Because I doing the same, you know, because I have two daughters to look at. And I can't go get locked up and come back, what I can tell them.
Police have taken one person into custody so far in relation to the scam. Evergreen CEO Denali Penmacky says in learning of the family's struggle, including having to care for 2 daughters, she saw it necessary to come bearing groceries and gifts.
The young lady said that she have 2 girls and that they were in need of food and stuff as it relates to the children. And so today we even presenting them with a tablet. All right.
In addition, the investigating officer just happened to own a small business and has offered Natasha a job. It's a blessing the family says they didn't see coming.
Roxy t-shirts. We just thank God that we are in a position where we could assist where needed. It could have been us, and we'd want somebody to help us as well. Apart from being a police officer and doing my job on that side, I'm also a community leader, I believe. And I believe that we should look out for each other, for we are brothers and sisters keepers, or we should be our brothers and sisters keepers.
Well, several Atlantis employees say they are tired of being on furlough and are ready to receive separation packages. Jillian Gray has more.
With little certainty as to when they'll be getting back to work, some Atlantis employees say they wouldn't mind receiving separation packages. This as they say the little in benefits that they receive is hardly enough to get by.
I only want my severance package so I could be out there.
So even if they open up, that means many hotel workers will still be on furlough. So, I mean, at what point do a decision is made to offer the workers redundancy packages?
Leslie Humes has been employed with Atlantis for 36 years. He said since March he's been doing odd jobs to provide for his family. He's not hopeful that the tourism industry will pick up anytime soon.
People ain't traveling like that because they are scared of this stuff.
Though grateful, Dave Beckford said the $150 government benefit is not enough as bills are piling up. Beckford said he knows these are unprecedented times, but called for the Minister of Labor to clearly lay out a plan.
Give us some dignity, man. Give us some respect. We are the backbone for this industry. And while everybody talking about, the opening and tourists coming back and all that, we want some people to talk. We want to hear more about us as workers.
Aware of workers' call for separation packages, Hotel Union President Darren Woods said there is a provision in the industrial agreement that says if an employee is laid off for 10 consecutive weeks, then they can opt to receive severance pay. He said while the union would prefer for workers to remain employed, they would support their wishes and ensure that the employee receives what they are entitled to.
Of course, we understand because with the air of uncertainty, with the continuous moving of the opening date, people just want to know exactly what has happened. As a matter of fact, we've had some persons who have approached us in terms of saying, well, listen, man, what about the packages? And by the time when we work out what it actually entails, some of them say, boy, that ain't nothing much. And so they declined to move forward.
He added that they have been engaged with hotel properties on a definite date for reopening, but many of them are uncertain. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
Over on Grand Bahama, 4 people were charged with firearm possession. 27-year-old Drexen Melanie in the white jacket, 28-year-old Lloyd Mader in the black shirt, 31-year-old Petra Thompson and 37-year-old Matthew Smith in the red shirt were charged in the magistrate's court on Grand Bahama today with possession of an unlicensed firearm and ammunition. According to police, a team of officers acting on information went to the Taino Beach area on Friday and spotted a gold Chevy Cobalt in the parking lot. Officers found a 9mm pistol and 6 live rounds of ammunition and arrested 3 males. In court today, the accused pleaded not guilty and were remanded. They will return to court on December 9th. Still to come, why the Christian Council president says recent murders may be linked to the pandemic. Stay tuned.
Coming soon to Rev TV, Goombay Kids. Goombay Kids is a show about learning, interacting, and having fun. Goombay Kids has made 4 kids by kids right here in the Bahamas.
Sit back, here we go, it's a Goombay day.
Goombay Kids!
Christian Council President Bishop Delton Fernander expressing sadness and outrage following the shooting death of 7-year-old Reyes Williams. Fernander says he believes recent killings can be linked to effects of the pandemic.
We expect our children to outlive us, and
I think one of the sad effects of the pandemic and the response to the pandemic has been this letting out and the rage and the retaliation that we've seen over the weeks since we've come out our time of curfew and lockdown. As a council, we are working with the Crime Prevention Council. We're also working with Dr. Pesenti to provide retraining for the kind of stressed counseling that is necessary now from the church.
Fernander fears that there may be retaliation for this incident. He encouraged anyone with information to contact the police or the Christian Council. He said despite criticism from the public, the council will continue to be there for families.
This is why it's challenging sometimes to take the criticism of the country because we don't go anywhere. We don't have any PPPs, we don't have all the fancy masks, but I guarantee that young man and his family goes to a church and that pastor and community will be there for them. And whether there's a camera or not, this is what the church does best. And we had Pastor Roach would have passed, and it's an example of what true Christian leadership is about in this country.
Well, the shooting death of the 7-year-old is not sitting well with a group of community activists who all gathered at the Hope Center Tuesday to speak out on the tragic incident. Hope Center Senior Pastor Carlos Reid says it's time for a comprehensive plan on how to deal with crime. Reid said he believes the incident was gang-related and fears there will be retaliation.
Most definitely. Most definitely. You know, the police is not me saying this is what come from the police. The police said that this was a gang issue. There was a because of a gang war. You see what I'm saying? So we know that whenever somebody get killed, basically all of us, when we hear about somebody getting killed in an area, we don't know where the next shooting gonna be.
Director of Teen Challenge Bahamas, Dr. Eric Fox, said they've been appealing for government support for quite some time now. He slammed the education system, charging that children should be taught life lessons like conflict resolution skills while in school.
I personally feel that anger management, conflict resolution, these stuff should have been part of the curriculum. Exactly. For everybody, you know, when the little fellas start to act out and act crazy, all of us have certain issues. This should be in life skills. This is called life skills. This should be integrated in the curriculum. Because most of the young men who come to me, Dr. Reid, that probably are involved in some stuff, these young men, I would say they get no degree, but they got the basic education.
And that's a look at news, but stay tuned. Marcellus Hall is up next with sports.
Coming soon to Rev TV, Goombay Kids. Goombay Kids is a show about learning, interacting, and having fun. Goombay Kids has made 4 kids by kids right here in the Bahamas.
Sit back, here we go, it's a Goombay day.
Goombay Kids!
Bahamian Jazz Chisholm and the Miami Marlins battling for a playoff spot. Marcellus Hall has more.
So last night, another exciting Monday Night Football matchup as the Las Vegas Raiders, they opened their new stadium going up against the New Orleans Saints. Meanwhile, baseball season is winding down. Can one of our own make its way into the playoffs? Las Vegas Raiders debuting their new stadium last night. They hosted the New Orleans Saints on Monday Night Football. Good news, Raiders get the win. Bad news, no fans allowed in the stadium to see it. Derek Carr throwing for 3 touchdown passes and 282 yards. 103 of those went to tight end Darren Waller, who also caught a touchdown. Raiders 34-24 over the Saints. This despite 300 yards plus from Drew Brees, the Saints quarterback. Raiders now 2-0 on the season. Saints, they fall to 1-1. Meanwhile, it is the final week of the regular season in Major League Baseball. Jazz Chisholm and Florida Marlins still battling for a spot in the playoffs. They're currently second in the National League East at 28-26. 4 games behind the division-leading Atlanta Braves, who they play this week and coincidentally lost to last night, 5-4. Now the top 2 teams in each division will make the playoffs, which means there is a good chance they can hold on, although the Phillies just 1 game back and lurking for that second spot. As for Jazz, struggling a bit at the plate, hitless in his last 5 games. And of course, don't forget, you can still sign up for your Sunday ticket courtesy of Rev by opting in if you have Trio. If not, just call a Rev agent and get yourself all sorted out. Reporting for Our News, I'm Marcel Asal.
And that's a look at news. We throw it back to meteorologist Greg Thompson for the extended weather forecast.
Thanks again, Kyle. I'm meteorologist Greg Thompson with your second look at weather. On our satellite, cloudy conditions across the southeast Bahamas as the front boundary continues to drape across that area, high pressure building behind us, producing some very windy conditions, and of course, Teddy out there still producing some very large swells. Boating forecast for the northwest, central, and southeast Bahamas. Your winds will be out of the north to northeast 15 to 20 knots with some high gust seas running 4 to 6 feet, but we do expect some swells up to 12 feet. High tide will be at 12:56 in the morning. Here's a look now at your national forecast. Now we'll look at your extended forecast through Sunday. That's a look at our weather. Have a safe night, everyone.
Thank you for joining us for Our News Tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kyle Joaquin. Remember, you can catch Our News on the Go, the Repco Play app. Have a good Tuesday evening, Bahamas.